Over the weekend, President Donald Trump dusted off one of his favorite sayings, "You're fired."
Trump sacked more than a dozen inspectors general, a move critics are saying is illegal.
Inspector generals are independent, I think it's inspectors general actually, independent watchdogs who audit and investigate respective government agencies for waste, fraud, and abuse.
Chairperson of the Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency, Hannibal Ware, wrote a letter to Sergio Gore, the White House's Director of Presidential Personnel. At this point, we do not believe the actions taken are legally sufficient to dismiss presidentially appointed Senate-confirmed Inspectors General, Ware wrote. Specifically, based upon the 2022 amendments to the Inspector General Act of 1978, the President must notify Congress 30 days prior to the removal of an IG and provide substantive rationale, including detailed and case-specific reasons for such removal.
Republican Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas defended Trump's move on Fox News on Sunday.
Here he is.
Well, Shannon, time and time again, the Supreme Court has said that Congress can't impose restrictions on the president's power to remove officers. In President Trump's first term, he removed the director of the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, despite limitations on the president's constitutional power to remove officers. That was litigated at the Supreme Court, and the president won. So ultimately, these inspectors general serve at the pleasure of the president. He wants new people in there. He wants people who focused on getting out waste and fraud and abuse and reforming these agencies. He has a right to get in there who he wants. I believe so, and he says he wants to fill those offices. Maybe he won't fill them immediately because there's an entire administration to staff and he may have other priorities, but I think the president's inherent power to remove officers will be upheld if it's challenged in court, as it has been time and again for Democratic and Republican presidents alike.
Democratic Congressman Jerry Connolly went on CNN this weekend with a very different perspective.
Take a look.
So I would echo that. I think every one of them should show up to work tomorrow because this is not a legal action by the President of the United States. The law requires two things. One, 30-day notice to Congress. And secondly, they've got to spell out the deficiencies that caused this termination to occur. And President Trump has done neither of those two things. So they are legally, I think, required to go to work tomorrow, and I hope they do.
Senator Adam Schiff was on Meet the Press yesterday, discussing what Congress could do about the situation.
Here he is.
Yeah, he broke the law, and not just any law, but a law meant to crowd out waste, fraud, and abuse. And yeah, the remedies Congress has. We have the power of the purse. We have the power right now to confirm or not confirm people for cabinet positions that control agencies or would control agencies whose inspector generals have just been fired. And let's remember, in his first term, he fired an inspector general for providing whistleblower complaints to Congress, fired an inspector general for saying that pandemic response, his response had flaws. The American people, if we don't have good and independent inspector generals, are going to see the swamp refill. They're going to see rampant waste, fraud. They're going to see corruption. It may be the president's goal here, when he's got a meme coin that's making him billions, is to remove anyone that's going to call the public attention to his malfeasance.
And here's Senator Chuck Schumer on the floor this weekend.
Yesterday, in the dark of night, President Trump fired at least 12 independent inspector generals at important federal agencies across the administration. This is a chilling purge, and it's a preview of the lawless approach Donald Trump and his administration are taking far too often as he's becoming president.
Here's Republican Senator Lindsey Graham with a very different opinion.
But very quickly, the law says he's supposed to give you 30 days notice. He didn't do that. Do you think he violated the law?
Well, technically, yeah, but he has the authority to do it. So I'm not, losing a whole lot of sleep that he wants to change the personnel out. I just want to make sure that he gets off to a good start. I think he has. I'm very supportive of what he wants to do in America.
Senior counsel at the Article 3 Project, Will Chamberlain, wrote this on X. Inspectors general are great. That's why President Trump is taking the opportunity to appoint new ones aligned with his policy priorities.
Meanwhile, criminal defense lawyer Scott Greenfield wrote, it's absolutely clear that Trump's firing of the inspectors general violates the law requiring 30 days specific notice to Congress. Does this matter to his supporters, or do they care nothing about the law anymore?
And does Congress care is, I guess, the relevant factor. Look, it seems pretty unambiguous he needed to notify Congress that he was going to do this and provide a reason. So
yeah.
What else is there to say?
I think there's quite a lot to say, but go ahead and complete your thought first of all.
Well, that's my thought. He should inform them, but he does have every right to remove and appoint new inspectors general, one who will do a better job, perhaps, of identifying waste, fraud, and abuse. Look, in theory, I'm really a fan of the idea of inspectors general because I think there's tons of waste, fraud, and abuse in government. They should find more of it. Occasionally, they do a good job. There was great reporting years back from the inspectors general in I think it was the EPA, caught a bunch of federal employees watching porn on their computers when they should have been working. So they get some fun stuff now and then, but they could do a better job, and Donald Trump's going to bring in new people who share his enthusiasm for purging the government, his and mine, of waste, fraud, and abuse.
I think he's bringing in people who share his enthusiasm for Donald Trump, actually, which I think is almost always his governing principle. I have a few things to say about this whole topic. One is, Lindsey Graham asked, did the President of the United States break the law? Technically, yeah. Well, that's fine. It's all good. I mean, seriously, like any time a Democratic president would technically break the law, Lindsey Graham or any Republican senator would be shrugging their shoulders and going, oh, don't really care about that. Also, Trump has basically fired these people all across the government, and it is a very sensible supposition that he is doing so to remove the very powers of oversight that inspectors general have and to install loyalists in those positions. And the guy at the DOJ who has been more pro-Trumpy on occasions in the past is one of the very few to survive. And to Adam Schiff's point, during the last Trump administration, there were several inspectors general fired. One of them was Michael Atkinson, the IG in the intelligence community, because he'd passed along the information that was provided by whistleblowers about the call to Zelensky that got Trump impeached. The health IG, who Schiff also alluded to, said that there were PPE, personal protective equipment shortages. She based that on a survey of 323 hospitals. Trump said it was her personal opinion and fired her. And then over at State, a guy by the name of Linnock who was investigating the allegations that Mike Pompeo, who was then Secretary of State, was using personal staff for his own benefit, was also dismissed. And so this is obviously an attempt by Trump to get rid of and to kick away more of the guardrails to his presidency.
Yeah, look, but there's no debate that you use the term loyalists. Every every new political figure, right, brings in people who are loyal to him. He does have the authority to appoint new inspectors general. If those people are just running cover for Trump, then I will criticize them too. But if the idea is that he has had, and the view of conservatives is that in the first Trump administration, they were not able to put in people who shared Trump's vision. It's very clear what he ran on. He won the election. Not only did Trump win the election, but then Republicans won a majority in both houses of Congress. And so there's a clear mandate to install in these positions pro-Trump personnel and pro-Trump policies, and so that's what's going to take place. They should notify Congress too, but Congress doesn't care to be notified. They say, put in whoever you want.
Trump's position at its core is whatever Donald Trump does is right and justified. And an inspector general should, by his or her very nature, be different from that. And this is what I think frustrates me and a lot of people who are more critical of Trump, is conservatives say about media coverage or about liberal critics, oh, how can you say he's authoritarian? That's such hyperbole. And he has pardoned and given clemency to people who committed violence on January the 6th, including those convicted of seditious conspiracy. He has thrown out inspectors general to replace them with loyalists. He has talked about firing prosecutors who don't prosecute people at his behest, on and on and on. And the reason Trump critics say, well, this could be an authoritarian, is because he keeps doing and saying authoritarian things.
Is it authoritarian for a political figure to appoint to these positions people who align with him personally? I mean, this is the whole conservative...
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, the conservative idea is very different from that. The conservatives have been worried that for years the government is actually run by people who are totally politically unaccountable and who have their own agenda, who have their own national security agenda that is totally hostile to the non-interventionist policies that Donald Trump, imperfectly, albeit, has expressed a desire to implement, but instead there's this permanent bureaucracy that has total business as usual and doesn't care when voters elect someone to clearly break with that. The first time in the Trump administration, they didn't expect to win and they didn't know what to do. This time, they understand better that they need to replace all of the people in these agencies with ones who align with the Trump agenda of beating down the deep state, preventing regime change and forever wars, improving the economy domestically, handling the illegal immigration problem. All of the things he ran on, he needs his people in place to implement.
Or, of course, he could be getting rid of them because they would scrutinize corruption, personal gain, autocratic behavior, and various other things that are rightly scrutinized by people whose first loyalty is not to whomever or whichever president appointed them.
Up next, President Trump and Colombia's president were playing chicken on Sunday over mass deportation. Who won? Deportees. That's that word.